Hey everybody, Katallina here, and today we're talking about episode 2 of Konosuba season 3. We pick up basically where we left off, and they are getting ready for their meeting with the princess. Darkness is still warning them, hell's bells no. She's even gone to the trouble of putting on a maid costume and stuff. I don't know whether she was maybe trying to use that to entice Kazuma to not do this or something, or to at least listen to her about doing this. It was really kind of random and out of nowhere, but I mean, I can see the humor of it, and the overall situation was pretty amusing. The primary theme of the episode seemed to be the idea that there is a distinction between what we imagine or envision, and then what actually happens when things go down in reality. That's true in life, and it's definitely true in Konosuba, whether we're talking about serious moments or whether we are talking about one of the zillion times this show is going to make us laugh out loud uncontrollably about one thing or another. Darkness was terrified that her friends would end up making some kind of monumental mistake, where they would end up doing something that would tick off the princess and lead to them being beheaded. Except the only person who actually ends up with any kind of actual physical wound during the entire episode of the show today is Darkness herself, when she intervenes on her friend's behalf. Megumin wants to do this whole smoke and mirrors and tricks kind of thing to impress the princess, and yet when something happens that would normally set off her fiery temper, she actually holds back because she's concerned about how her reaction would affect Darkness's standing as a part of the nobility. Aqua, who gets told off by people early on in the episode because she's doing party tricks outside of Wiz's store, is actually the only person who fares with any level of remote decency toward the princess during the main part of the episode, until the twist at the end happens, and you'll have to wait, we'll talk about that in a bit. But that was pretty interesting because, I mean, initially Kazuma was being kind of mean to Aqua because apparently Aqua was the one person who didn't help him with these lighters that he's trying to sell at Wiz's store. And Kazuma seems to have taken that a bit personally. Lastly, of course, there's Kazuma himself, who actually thinks that this whole meeting with the princess is going to increase his status, give him more stuff, get him money, or any number of other things, who thinks this is going to be an incredibly positive experience, only to find out that it's going to be anything but, that he and this princess, at least initially, do not gel, and that she thinks he's a liar, which really ticks him off. And then of course, Kazuma being Kazuma, other crazy things happen, like the fact that he ends up angering the princess to the point where a guard actually sticks a sword in his face, and then he goes to try and actually challenge that guard in a way. He tries to use his steel spell to take the sword, but instead, being Kazuma, he gets her panties. Come on, Kazuma. The steel spell knows what you really want. Let's be honest. I think that if I was going to talk about the distinction between vision and reality, as far as my own perceptions as a viewer, that the thing I need to talk about today is the fact that, for the first time that I can really remember, Darkness actually genuinely impressed me. I do understand and appreciate the fact that Darkness is known for a very specific type of comedy, and that it's very popular with lots of people, and that's perfectly fine. But today, as the more straight man character of the comedic situation, the voice of reason between the holier-than-thou princess and her knights, and of course our clueless band of adventurers who have no idea about the culture and customs of the kingdom in such a way that they would behave properly. She actually really made some interesting character growth and had some really cool moments, and this is definitely a time where I want to really shout her out. In the beginning, Darkness is the one who is like, no, please, let's not do this. This is a terrible idea. They get there, and she's still trying to protect and support her friends by trying to teach them how they need to behave so that nothing will happen and they won't wind up losing their heads or something, because this isn't going to dinner with someone's curmudgeonly uncle. This is a invitation by royalty in a medieval fantasy kingdom. If you piss off the royals, you're gonna pay for it. And Darkness, as a noble of this world, knows that. And knows that her friends are not going to be up to scratch for this at all. But then, when the princess actually says that she thinks that Kazuma is a liar, It's Darkness who gets passionate. It's Darkness, rather than Megumin, who loses her cool. It's Darkness who backhands the princess of the land across the face and doesn't actually end up getting killed over it. Although it's also Darkness who blocks a sword strike at Kazuma, ending up with, of course, being Darkness just the tiniest little smidge on her arm that Aqua super easily heals. But I just thought it was so cool that Darkness went from wanting to appear as a proper noble lady, wanting to make sure her friends understand the reality of the expectations of being in front of royalty, and yet at the end of the day, by backhanding a princess, I mean, dude, I mean, it's not like she hit her incredibly hard, but I mean, she touched her. It wouldn't matter whether she put a finger on her gown. As royalty, that could be grounds for execution depending upon the country. And Darkness is a noble of this land and is somebody who is aware of the rules and the like structures of this society. And yet she did this. She, the person who was warning her friends about doing anything that could offend the princess, was the one who did that, or did this. I just thought that was totally amazing and awesome, and that it just really shows the distinction between who Darkness would like people to think she is and who Darkness really is, and how loyal Darkness is to her friends. Okay, I've made y'all wait long enough. Let's talk about the ending, because oh my god, I wasn't all that really impressed plot-wise with the episode at first. I sat here for like an hour trying to think about how I was going to talk about everything, but I knew there was one thing I did have to talk about in this video, and that is absolutely how the episode ended, because oh my god, it was too funny. Because at the start of the episode, Kazuma is all like, yeah, they might want me to live in the castle. And then we get there and we meet the princess and we realize how annoying that the communication with her is and everything. And then Kazuma's just like, I just want this over. I want out of here. And he seems really relieved that they're saying goodbye and everything. He's being like polite and everything. Like he's putting up a front basically because he just wants to go the hell home. And then at the last possible second, as they're casting the teleport spell, and the princess has said, hey, you should come to the castle and we should discuss more about your feats and adventures and stuff. And Kazuma and everybody thinks that she means later. Oh no. She grabs his arm, it's like, yoink! And he gets pulled into the teleportation spell with them and appears at her castle. And I love the ending where he basically goes, yep, that's royalty for you. And that is exactly it. That is exactly how it feels when you are in some kind of situation where you are dealing with people who are on different like social status levels and crap, whether it's annoying relatives at a reunion or whether it is snooty kids at a like prom or something, or whether it's a situation like this where of course the consequences and stakes are so much higher, but it's the same overall general like fish out of water, not supposed to be there kind of sensation. And it's definitely going to lead to some very interesting possibilities moving forward in the series, because it seems like this is where we are going next, and we have to wonder, what the heck are Darkness and Megumin and Aqua going to be sitting there thinking, considering that one minute Kazuma was beside them, and the next second he was going like through a Mario warp pipe, like whoop, and that was the end of that. We have to think about how Kazuma is going to handle himself in this situation, in this castle, interacting with this princess, under these crazy rules of the monarchy, where we aren't going to really know exactly what they are because we no longer have our guide through Darkness to help try and smooth things over or to even explain what's going on. I wonder how soon the girls will actually catch up to what's happening, or whether they will even be allowed to. I mean, what is actually going to go down here? There are so many possibilities, and I am super excited to see what will happen in next week's episode. But I'm wondering, what did you guys think of this episode? Did you have any favorite moment that stood out or that you thought was funny? Who do you think was the most interesting character this go around? Anyway, that's all I've got to say about this episode, and I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye!